Wow, that was a movie. I just finished watching Mank, you guys. I'm very confused.
You're
There was a lot going
what
on.
are you-
Someone shot himself. It was a classic. I should say right at the top. I fell asleep during Citizen Kane 15 years ago. That's where I'm at. How about you guys?
I okay. Am I a bad movie person if I admit I've never seen all of Citizen Kane? Because I'm just gonna go ahead. Yeah, I know. Okay. I'll leave. Goodbye.
I didn't finish it
Sorry.
either.
Okay.
Oh, you guys. Okay. This is like my fifth time watching Mank, so yeah,
Great,
I
great.
enjoyed it. It was good.
This is gonna be an interesting one, guys.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm like a David Fincher stan, so he can do no wrong in my eyes. So that's
Right.
also, like I actually drove to Virginia to see this before it hit Netflix, like when it was still quarantine times. Like
Okay.
I
Oh.
was like
Okay.
ready for it.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad we're doing this one with you then, Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Me
excited
too.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to
I've
hear.
seen people make fun of it a lot online, so I'm ready to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
I'm a defender of it.
There
So
you go. Okay. All right, and this is the part where we do our theme song. I think that was our
okay.
intro. You got it? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm tracking.
all right, welcome back to Josh and Cassie Yell About Movies, everybody. I'm Joshua, and this is Cassie.
Yes, this is Cassie.
Yes,
Hello, Joshua.
yes. Hello, Cassie. We are a weekly movie review podcast that tries to make sense of movies that people are still watching and still want to talk about. Because some people like doing that. I'm a freelance, film entertainment person, and Cassie is another person.
I think at last check, yeah.
You're
I
a
am-
human with a pulse, is what you're
I am
saying?
indeed a person. Yes. I work in TV. I'm a yoga teacher as of today, officially. I taught my first yoga class.
Great.
And I am an amateur movie reviewer aficionado. And our guest today is named Erica, and she is at eRock Reviews on Twitter. She writes for a number of publications, and we're super excited to have her on the show today. Thanks for being here, Erica.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Thanks for having me. And as we talked about before, I'm glad I'm here for this one. So at first I was like, should we talk about this? Because I've already seen it so many times and talked about it on other podcasts, but I'm excited to have some I want to hear what you guys think. I'm very, definitely open-minded, and I always try to find the best in all films. So even if it is something I don't like, I try to find the best in it. So, but again, I love Mank. So
Tell the story. Tell a story you know, Erica. That's all I can say.
That's
the
right.
story
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
That's right. All right. So the movie opens up in black and white. Why didn't anyone tell me this was a black and white film?
You didn't know?
Wait. Have you been under a rock?
What's that?
I at least knew it was in black and white.
You're active on Twitter, and
Fairly active, yeah.
wait, there was images of this film littered on Twitter, and you didn't notice it was black and white?
Yes, it's a black and white film.
No, I didn't.
Wait, okay.
Welcome to movies. Welcome to Mank.
Pause for a second. Can we just touch on Citizen Kane for a hot second? Because you both have said that you weren't right.
I know the basic story of Citizen Kane. I've definitely seen the final scene in a film class back in college.
Sure.
I was very tired when I watched it. I'll say that.
Yeah. So my experience with Citizen Kane is when I watched it in undergrad, because my minor in undergrad was film. And when I watched it, I was like, this is the best movie ever made. I was like, same. I was bored. And then, growth. And I watched it in my master's program. And I was like, this is incredible. So if you've only watched it once, I would recommend giving it a second look. And it's totally if it's still not your thing. I'm not saying it has to be your thing, but I think watching it with a lens of putting yourself back in that time and how monumental it was for that time in filmmaking from the editing and like the structure and all that, like getting really geeky into film stuff, not just like I wouldn't tell like your average movie watcher or like somebody like my family isn't really film people, so like I would never tell them to watch it, but like two people like you who know film, look at film in a different way, discuss film, maybe give it a rewatch. Like, especially, like, a lot of people were like, do I have to watch Citizen Kane before I watch Mank? And I was like, well, first of all, if you've never seen Citizen Kane and you consider yourself like a film person, you should like watch Citizen Kane. And then also, like, yeah, I think you don't get the full experience of Mank unless you've seen Citizen Kane.
And yeah, I caught on to that pretty quickly. I was like, this is pretty niche. Like, and I feel like to understand what they're talking about here, like, I'm sure there's a lot of references to Citizen Kane that I am just not catching, and it's not meaning as much to me because I don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So that's
I don't either, but here's one thing I can say. It was the pictures that got small. That's what
do you know what that's from?
Why else would I quote it?
Cassie, do you know what that's from?
No.
That is what this movie reminded me of. It was Norma Desmond, Sunset Boulevard. She's a former silent film star, kind of like Amanda Seyfried in this film, playing the silent film actress Marion Davies, someone that used to be great and now she's a shadow of her former self. I was always big. It's the pictures that got small, and that's what.
Have you not seen Sunset Boulevard?
What's that?
I don't watch a lot of old movies. I mean, I've seen some of the like Marilyn Monroe, like Cabin on the Roof. Some like
Sunset
Hot.
Boulevard is fun. I'll say that.
You got it. Yeah, that's a must watch. I'm a huge Billy Wilder fan as well, and it's a Billy Wilder film. Highly recommend. It's a great one. Yeah, I definitely can see the parallels there as well. But I also am someone who loves old films and loves black and white films. So, like, I was excited.
Yeah, I do and I don't. Like, 12 Angry Men randomly is one of my favorite movies in the whole world, But then so many other black and white films I just can't get into. It really depends. Anyway.
No, I get it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this was a movie with a whole lot of white dudes. Erica, would you care to comment on that?
One of the best parts for me was realizing that Bill Nye the Science Guy was...
What was that? Why was he in it?
Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing?
Why was he there? I'm not mad about it. Like, who doesn't love Bill Nye? But I was like, wait, he's an actor? I mean, I guess that makes sense. But
wait, you mean the guy that debated Ken Ham?
I don't know who that is.
All
these references are over my
I'm sorry.
I'm not doing well tonight. I'm gonna get a lot of blank stares from me tonight.
Okay.
But yes, Bill Nye the Science Guy was in.
That was such a fun cameo. Like when I was in the theater, like I was like, is that because like it's not really like a straight on shot, right? It's like very much like not trying to show you. Exactly.
He's not dressed as Bill Nye.
Right.
You're like, is it? It's
right. Yeah, no, I loved that. I was like, that was such a fun, like unexpected cameo, Yeah, I love that part. So I approve of Bill Nye the Science Guy, white guy cameo. But yeah, it was a lot of old white dudes, wasn't it? Yeah, that's
and especially degrading to women. That one scene where there's like 12 white guys in the room and one lady in pasties like at the typewriter, and they don't even acknowledge her until one white guy leaves, and he makes some derogatory comment. Wait, I actually remember this one. He says, "I think I'd like to see her in a tight sweater."
I mean, and I get that they were trying to show what old Hollywood like really was, and so I understand why they did it, and it was jarring and kind of gross, but that just goes to show you like how much things have changed. So like, I understand like why they did that, but yeah, it was wild, and she had nice boobs.
Yes,
great set of tits.
All right, so why glorify this period then? If it was all these old self-indulgent white guys, I guess that's my question.
Because Hollywood's still a bunch of old self-indulgent fucking white guys. Like, what do you mean?
I didn't think it was glorifying. I didn't think it
so
made
either.
it look very good at all, personally. A lot of times when I watch old films that take place in older times, I think, oh man, I wish I could go back there. And this movie didn't make me think that. You know, I will
That's
say
a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
Josh, comments on that?
Cassie, I have no comment on that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that. I think I just thought, like, yeah, this is old Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I don't think I gave it a second thought after that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right.
And speaking of old, I do want to bring up that Gary Oldman was in his 60s, and Mank at the time was in his 30s.
Yeah, but
he
okay,
he's
so
43 at the very end of the film.
Yes, but because I saw a lot of discourse about this on Twitter. If you look up a picture of Herman Mankiewicz when he was 33, that's what he looked like.
He looked old. Okay.
Have you seen it? Have you seen? I'm not kidding. Like, look it up, and you're like, oh. Okay, wow, yeah, no, this was a great casting choice. Yeah. Okay. Like, I thought the same thing, and I was just kind of like, but then, like, somebody was like, everyone's mad about Gary Oldman being this age and making him look like and then it was like, but here was what Herman Mankiewicz really looked like at that age. And you're like, oh, like, yeah, he looked like shit. Like, he looked really old.
I got it. Right. Like, well, we're here to talk about the themes, and the theme was they thought he was writing an opera, and he says, but I am writing an opera. What do you guys think about that? Was he self-indulgent? If so, did he earn the right to be? I mean, after all, he did do monster films starring Lon Chaney.
I don't think he was self-indulgent. I think he was confident in himself. He knew what he was doing.
Who do you consider self-indulgent? Let me just ask you that.
Who?
Yeah, anyone.
Like a famous person?
Well, yeah. If the script was 370 pages, you know, and they were talking about the difficulty getting the film made, I consider that self-indulgent. But if you don't, I just would like to know what your barometer is all.
I don't know, Cassie. Do you have someone? I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
Like, I really don't like Lars von Trier. I might consider him.
Okay, I will second that.
Okay.
Second that.
I mean, aren't all celebrities and people in the, like, they all are, right? I mean, at some point, I think they all are in some way, right? I mean, I don't think you'd be in this business if you weren't,
right? Or
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's true.
So Erica, did you know when you were before watching this film? Did you know about why they were doing so much of a contrast to 1934? And the governor's election with Upton Sinclair.
Did I know why?
Yeah. Were you confused by that constant flashback as I was? I mean, because obviously you watched the Citizen Kane. I didn't realize how much it was about I guess Hearst and the labor movement in California.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I knew enough to like follow along when I was watching it, but I did do some like follow-up research after, just to kind of learn like how much of it was accurate. And there was a good article I found that was like, here are all the accurate things, even down to like stuff that was like I'm sure you all noticed like the Hollywood Land sign in the back, like saying Hollywood Land instead of just Hollywood, right? Like just even little stuff like that. Or like the set recreations they did and stuff, right? But back to what you were asking. I think I knew that in Citizen Kane, this person was based off of a real life person, right? I did know that.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, did you like his constant debates with all those, stuffy old people and around the fire and everything? And he would say, "You don't even know the difference between communism and socialism."
Yeah, I loved that scene because I loved the way it was shot and edited. That felt really Fincher-like to me. Like I said, I'm a huge David Fincher fan, so that really felt like, how his films are, like The Social Network. Like, think about, that's like one of my all-time favorites. So think about like, those scenes where there's so much conversation happening, and I felt like that really mirrored his style, and I really liked that part of it. And it just like, you know, it built tension, just like in the scene at the end, the dinner scene, right? Like that was really tense.
The dinner scene where everyone was dressed like they were going to a circus, and he shows up shambling drunk, and he's like, "Well, thanks for having me."
Yeah. And then I forgot he like barfs at the end. Like,
he sure does.
So embarrassed. It's just
and
so embarrassing.
And they call him a court jester, which is what his brother does earlier in the film. He says, "You're being a court jester."
That's good writing.
Yes, they want him to kiss up, get his old job back. His wife wants him to, but she knows he'll do whatever he's going to do anyway, right?
Let's give poor Sarah some credit. She's like my favorite. Like she was honestly, she was like the hidden gem for me. Like the first time I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm obsessed with this character. I love the woman who played her. Shoot, now I can't think of her name.
She was very real. She just
she was great. Like, and I love that. Like she like knew he was like a piece of shit, kind of, right? Like, and she like would call him out, and like I love a woman who can do that. And but she's like, I love you, and I've like stuck around this long, and I'm gonna stick around. But you know, like I just appreciated her because I feel like that's also like how real relationships are, right? Like, totally. You put up with people's shit because you love them, and I think she was like a perfect showing of that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well,
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, she said she wanted to stick around and see what happens. Actually, that's what she said.
Well, yeah, but she's saying she's going to stick around. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Like, she's choosing that. She's choosing, I'm going to stick around.
Yeah.
So.
Even though you're 30 and look 60, I'm still going to stick around.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Maybe the suicidal drinking has something to do with that.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't like the healthiest liver. Like,
that's why he died at 55. Like, the man was not healthy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I just thought she was... I mean, and obviously that's why he loved her and married her. And you know, I did think seeing so many previews, like I said, I was like really counting down this film when it was coming out, before it came out. I thought there was going to be like I thought he was going to cheat on her and stuff. And, you know, she says like your platonic, like romances
platonic romances. He's talking about with Marion Davies, who, you know, he's sort of like, he treats like, not an armoire. He treats like someone he's inspired by, and he respects her a lot, and they have these little...
Like a muse?
A muse, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Yes, thank you. Just that little weird walk, and then I think he respects her as an equal... or maybe he just respects her because she's someone who treats him with respect, and no one else does in his world. Or so.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of admiration there too. I think he just like admires her, you know. And I thought she was great. Like, I think people were still surprised that she got an Oscar nomination for that. And although she didn't really show out in other award shows, I was like, I think because people like that are voting for the Oscars loved this film. Obviously, it was the most nominations this year.
Did she get nominated for Best Supporting Actress?
Mm-hmm.
She lost to The Pissing Grandma. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking when I was watching it, it was Best Actress, and I was like, but she's barely in it.
Yeah.
So, okay, it was Best Supporting.
That was my guess, because, I was like, she has, like, several scenes, but only two real good ones, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the acting, the acting was overacting, but it was like very old Hollywood acting.
But I thought they did a really good job, and even like the like sing-songy way they talk and like it was reminiscent of like
they set that tone movies. Right at the beginning with the assistant that comes in when Mank is in the bed, and he comes in and starts talking, which I'm not even going to attempt to do the accent, but I loved it. He nailed the style. I thought that was great. And going back to my theme, where I felt was a little self-indulgent, I think the movie itself calls that out when there's this one scene when right after he reads the script, I forget the guy's name, the same guy we were just talking about with the 1940s accent. He says, "You're asking a lot of the audience." Mank says, "Welcome to my mind. Would you consider simplifying?" And he says, "The narrative is one big circle, like a cinnamon roll. You can't capture a man's life in 2 hours." And that's when they do. You're not writing an opera. He says, but it is an opera.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I love that. I love that. And he says you can only hope to leave the impression of one. And I think that's what the movies are, right? Like we get a glimpse into something for whether it's like 90 minutes or 2 hours, and it either leaves an impression on us and it doesn't, right? So like that's one of my favorite lines in the film, actually.
What did you think of the backstage in like politics? Like when the LB guy gets up and makes that speech to everybody at MGM. He's like, "Hey, guess what? You're all getting half pay, and that stand with me. We're raw team, raw go because of these cutbacks. We need to do it." Also, I think that scene when everybody cheered in MGM, all his people there. I think there was a little girl that stood up and cheered, and I think she was supposed to be, who do you guys think?
Shirley Temple.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh,
yep.
There was a little girl with blonde hair. Yeah, very much Shirley Temple.
Yep. Go back and find.
Just absolutely America's sweetheart back then.
Yeah.
Another later in life Hollywood disaster story. As so many of them were back then. As so many of them were.
She turned it around. Eventually.
I also love the how they sort of shadowed like politics back then with now, like some people weren't taking Hitler seriously, and one of them was like, who takes a lunatic like that seriously? And then the other person says, 40 million Nazis can't be wrong.
Right.
Right.
Well, and apparently, I was listening, I listened to a lot of like film podcasts and stuff, and then there was a lot of discussion about Mank, right? And I want to say this was on Unspooled. Do you guys listen to Unspooled?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So they were talking, so they do like a lot of research, and Marion Davies, she has this like amazing, like I think it's an autobiography. Yeah, or like a memoir. I don't know. I want to read it. And she like was so fascinated with Hitler, and she like tried to go over there and meet him just so she could say that she like met him, right? And like she was over there, and like she would find out like, oh, he's at this location, and she would like try to like track him down there, and then she'd miss him. But she was doing it just so that she could say like she met him. Yeah. Like she was wild, and like I want to
say she's a little out there.
Yeah, and like I'm just so fascinated by her as a person, and I'm definitely gonna read the book eventually. But yeah, I like how they tied that stuff in there. I do appreciate that. And yeah, like a little too close for comfort, right? A little too real.
The politics was a little too real. His friend Shelley killed himself after the election.
Yeah, well, and that was that whole thing where like they put those videos together, right? Yeah, and that was real. So they talk about that on Unspooled as well, about how like they really did do these like yeah. Sorry, it's really good. You should listen to the episode. Okay. I learned a lot.
I probably will after this.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And they really I think they like interviewed people about something else and then cut it together to seem like they were talking about this, like in real life, those videos. So yeah, again, like I think a lot of this was, I mean, of course it's dramatized for the film, right? But I think a lot of it was accurate to the time. And again, like this was old Hollywood, and it's still very super relevant today, right? Like we're talking about, like it's still relevant. So
yeah, he's a good Republican, they said. I mean, people still say that today. As my very own mother, quick side comment, was a delegate today for a black woman holding an assault rifle in the print ad. Anyway, locally. That's just a little bit of local Virginia news for you guys.
Virginia.
Yep, right, yeah.
Where in Virginia are you?
I'm in Yorktown. That's where America was born.
Oh, right. The Battle of Yorktown.
There you go.
Hamilton.
Well, yeah.
You guys are both way smarter than me.
That is not true, Cassie.
The Battle of Yorktown. I need to brush up on my American history.
Did you watch Hamilton?
No, I've never watched Hamilton.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, listen. I know this is a podcast about Mank, but like Hamilton is incredible. You have to watch it.
I mean, I know it's on Disney Plus, and everyone was watching it when it was on Disney Plus.
Exactly, and I was like, oh, okay, and like everyone had been talking about it for so long but I'm telling you, like, it's incredible.
I thought you just paid like really good attention in history class in high school or something.
I do love history, but I'm not that good. Like that's truly from Hamilton.
They used to say that those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, but as we've seen recently and in the movie Mank, those who don't learn from history are doomed to win support and run for public office and win governor of California. That's what we've seen. So I really like that little poem he makes up for Mary and Davies when they're out by themselves after that party. He says there are letters of accent, letters of tone, but the best letter is the letter alone. What do you guys think that meant?
I don't know. I have no idea what it meant. Like I said, I had a really hard time sort of decoding this movie.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I'm not that kind of person that watches things with captions on, with subtitles on, because I've working in the production world, I have had to do captions, and then when I am watching them, all I'm doing is like proofreading them. So I don't enjoy, like a lot of people do that. They watch film, but this time around I actually did watch it with subtitles on, just because there is so much dialogue, right? Like there's so much talking and the way it's delivered, right? But to be honest, like I don't know if I picked up on that either. What do you think it meant?
Well, he was talking to Marion Davies, who essentially built MGM by marrying Hearst. You know, letters atone, but the best letter. He was the letter alone. He was talking about his words. He wrote like 45 films before Citizen Kane, just absolutely prolific. And I think he was comparing her to his best work. I think. Yeah. That's what I think.
I guess the entire time I was watching it, I was really focused on the superficial, like how everything looked and
that's why
everything.
Yeah, that's why it won production design, right?
I mean, and it won best cinematography, I believe, right? The Oscar for best cinematography, which. And I got that wrong on my Oscar poll at work because I thought Nomadland was going to win Best Cinematography. And I'm still not sure why it did, because to me, it kind of just looks like they slapped a black and white filter on it. Like, I mean, do you think it deserved Best Cinematography? I don't know.
So, again, I read a bunch of articles, and, like, they did so much work on, like, the lighting, like, the way the lighting was so that it matched, and... like the same type of style that they used back then. So I don't think it was like editing. I think it was like actually shot that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, David Fincher's like such a perfectionist. I believe that. But it's funny actually because, like I said, a huge fan of Mank, and then I saw The Father, and I was like, if The Father doesn't win for production design, I'm gonna be so upset. And then on my ballot, I did pick Mank because I was like, Mank's gonna win, and it did. And then I was rewatching this time, and I'm like, yeah, no, the production design is incredible. Like, even down to like, I just am such a geek for this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know if you noticed like the cube lip in the corner of the film, in the corner of the screen, which is like, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what a cube? Josh, do you know what a cube blip is?
A cube blip?
It's been a while.
Yeah. So when you're, you know how like when you're watching old films, you can see that little like dot that comes up in the corner of the screen.
Exactly, just like in Fight Club when they insert the penis.
I have no idea what anyone is talking about right now. I'm so confused.
So in old films, there's like this thing that like this little circle. When you see it, I know you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. And that's to notify the person to change the film reel, like to go to the next reel because the film's going to run out.
Okay.
So they even had that in this. So it really made you feel like you were watching a film from the 1940s. You know, like,
wow. No, I didn't.
That's
I didn't.
neat.
I didn't. I didn't
Yeah, that's
notice
cool.
that part. There's so much to notice. See, like I'm paying
mhm.
attention to like the dialogue and tone. You're paying attention to these details. This
Yeah,
is
you
what's
gotta
going
watch
on.
it more than once.
Yeah, clearly.
But
Yeah.
when I
am
went
not
to
going to
go,
watch this again. So
All
when I
right.
went, well, just please look up a clip with the cube lip on it so you
I'll
know
do
what I'm
that.
talking about. But the first time I saw it in the theater, I gasped when I saw that first cube lip because I was like, that's just so beautiful and clever and like really makes you feel like you're watching a true old black and white film. And like, I appreciate those small details.
you're right. It was absolutely a love letter to those old films, but Hollywood has
Absolutely.
never stopped doing love letters to old films. I will say that.
Well,
A Star
because
is
you
Born-
have
A
to,
Star
right?
is
You
Born
have
is-
to.
Sorry, I'm sorry. A Star is Born.
You
has
have
been
to.
What's that? You have to keep.
Yeah, you have to. You have to keep doing love letters to films because without those old films, these films wouldn't exist today.
Right.
I'm a true believer in that.
That's true, but those old films were built upon bad labor practices. That's what half the movie was about, and disregarding the rights of women, which is what The Star is Born originally was about, the very first one, and marrying up, just like Marion Davies did, to basically start MGM. You know, it was a 21-year-old, however old she was, married a man 35 years older.
And
But
these are
then
all
she
things
had-
that still happen.
Right,
I
and then
mean,
she had
Right.
to say, well, we've really sort of gotten fond of each other. She was saying she really likes him now. It was an arranged marriage, but so many themes in there, so many things. But I will say, I really like the rules. Did you pick up on that? The rules of film production. You know what MGM stands for?
yeah.
Emotion.
No, well, Mank was getting his brother a job, right? He
Yeah.
was getting his brother a job, and then he met, I think it was LB, and he walks him through, and they had these quick cuts, like just, like you said, old Hollywood. And the third rule was never forget that the buyer gets nothing from his money but the memories, and that's the movie business, he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that. That scene is also very Fincher-like to me, right? And you're talking about the tracking scene when they're following them and they're
the tracking
walking.
is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lot
I
of
love
highway
that.
walking. Yeah.
I loved it. And I love when he's like, you know what, we spend $1 million a year on films that nobody ever gets to see because they don't make me
Yes.
cry. And you know
Yes.
what makes me cry? Emotion. Here, and then he grabs his mom. That's like one of my favorites. It's like
There you
so
go.
good every time.
That's it.
I thought that's what you were gonna talk about, but
Yeah, that was
but
fun.
yeah, you teed it up for me. I appreciate
There you
that.
go. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love that part. And it's so true, right? Like, again, we don't care about films that don't make us feel those things, right? Like, it's got to be one of, like, you really think about it, you're like, oh, yeah, like, no, that makes sense. Like, and like you're saying, these things, history repeats itself. And I think as much as it is a love letter to the past, I think it's also showing us, like you said, a lot of this is still very relevant. It's still happening. It's still very much the Hollywood film scene, right?
Yeah, because people want to be in the movies.
Yeah.
Have you seen the original Star is Born, by the way?
Not the original one, but I've seen the one with Barbara Streisand, and then of course Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Well, you guys can track down the original one on YouTube, I think, if you want to. It's very.
And then I think the other, because there's 4, so the 30s.
Really?
Yep,
There's
anyway.
5 Stars Born?
Which one am I
Don't make
missing?
me count
then?
on the podcast because I won't get the dates right. But anyway, the one in like the 20s. There's one of the 40s. I think. Anyway, right.
I think it's 30s, 50s, 70s, and then this one. I didn't know. I thought there was only only 4. I'm not trying to like.
No,
Don't worry.
I know. I'm just getting at the theme in that very first one, and it's basically like the theme of all of them, and the theme of all these old Hollywood films. It's a girl who lives with her family, and she says, "I'm gonna go off and be somebody," and that's the theme of these old Hollywood films. People just want to be somebody. They want to dream, and that's what you do in these old Hollywood films. It's a dream.
Right.
And part of this film was showing you the reality of that dream, with old friends that used to work on set are now carrying signs, and asking for $1 from Mank, and he gets it from the guy at the door of the gate, which I thought was really funny. And
Right.
so I like how it gives you both sides, the dream and the reality. That's what I liked about
It's
Mank.
important. Yeah, that's important for sure.
So
This article I found says there's 4 Stars Born. Just throwing that out there.
Not just a hat rack, my friends. Not just a hat rack.
The 30s, the 50s, the 70s, and then
I was right.
Lady Gaga.
I was right. Sorry, Josh.
Okay.
Sorry, Josh.
Okay, I've seen the first one.
Yeah, no, I haven't. You got me beat on that. I haven't seen the first one, but yeah. Isn't one of them Judy Garland?
Yep, she stars in the second one. That's the people commonly think that's the first one.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, I think I did think that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
There wasn't one in between the 70s and now? That seems hard to believe, but okay.
No.
I'm not going to look it up right now. I'm not going to look it up because it's time
I already
for final...
looked it up.
I'm not looking it up because it's time for final thoughts. Erica, what are your final thoughts on Mank?
I think Mank's great. I mean, obviously, like, a lot of people think it's great. A lot of people didn't like it. I say give it a chance. It was nominated for the most Oscars this year. It didn't win the most, but I think getting the most nominations says something, right, across the board, right? Again, I'm a David Fincher stan. He can do no wrong, so I knew I was going to love it no matter what. But yeah, I mean, and like I always try to say, like, even if I never thought old black and white Hollywood films would be my thing until I had to start watching them for grad school or for undergrad and grad school. And I've fallen in love with them. Like, even some silent films. Like, one of my, like, favorites is The General with Buster Keaton. Like, I found a really big fan in myself in Buster Keaton. So,
one of my
even if
films. Sorry. Oh,
yeah,
am I interrupting you in your final thoughts? For it?
No, that's okay. That's okay, because it's Buster fucking Keaton, and he's amazing. He's amazing. It's The General, and it's amazing, and I recommend it to people. And I, like, sometimes recommend it to people, and I don't tell them it's a silent film because I don't want them to not watch it. But even silent films, too. Like, I never thought I'd be a fan of silent films. So this is just always my chance to plug and say, like, if you think you don't like a black and white film or a silent film, give it a shot. Give it a chance. You know, I had to do it because I had to for school, and then I found like a new love in it. So watch the old ones, watch Citizen Kane, and then watch Mank.
Yeah, I think that's the moral of the story
I would say
here.
Watch Modern Times. That's my favorite silent film.
Yeah, Modern Times is a good one.
Even though it's not technically a silent film, but that's another discussion.
Sorry, not to like go off on a tangent, but have you seen how they shot that roller skating scene? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you know I do. Cassie?
Okay.
No, I don't know what you're talking. I've never seen it.
Oh my God, you gotta watch, and then we'll send it to you. You gotta watch it. Watch Modern Times first.
Okay.
And then yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll cut this part, but basically Charlie Chaplin continued to do silent films 15 years after everyone else had stopped.
Yeah,
and he did, I can't remember, Erica's probably going to correct me on this, but 3 or 4 talking pictures, which I cannot find because I've always wanted to see the talking pictures he did. I did
know that.
The Dictator. I've seen The Dictator. There's 3 or 4 after that. I cannot find them anywhere. Unless I want to pay a lot of money, which I don't, to order the physical copy.
Okay. Yeah.
Very strange. So, anyway, it's okay. I'll cut that part. Too much side shit.
Okay.
But,
Sorry.
Final thoughts on Mank?
You know, listening to Erica talk about it made me like it a little more than I did coming in. Like, you're really persuasive. So, good job.
Everyone I've talked to about this film has said that. My rain shines down.
Yeah,
so.
You did a great job. Like, hyping this movie up. Because, I did think it was longer than it needed to be. It did lose my attention at some points. But, set design was awesome. The costuming, the acting was pretty good. And I appreciate that it's something different. I always appreciate when something is unique, because we don't get that a lot these days. So that in itself is something that's special, and I do respect that. It's definitely not for someone who doesn't know the story behind Citizen Kane. Again, I wish I had known a little more about it going in. Yeah.
Well, cool. I really enjoyed how every scene Mank walked into, he kind of made an ass of himself. Like, he just walked onto a film set, and everybody's like, "Who's that?" They're like, "Oh, it's Mankiewicz." Like, that's his thing. That's just his thing. Walking by in film sets, because it reminds me of when I was a young lad, however many years ago, in 2000, in the 2000s, being on film sets, and there was a homeless man named Radio Man, who you can see in the film with honors, who he's literally a homeless man, or so the legend goes, and he bikes around from film set to film set, yelling at people on set, and he's kind of a New York celebrity. If he's still alive, I'm not sure. I haven't kept up with him.
Huh.
But
Okay.
Radio Man, check him out in the 1994 film With Honors.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Radio Man. So that's what Mankiewicz was to me. Just somebody who just gave himself permission to insert himself into every moment in Hollywood. Which, I mean, I can relate to that. I would be that guy too. So
I was gonna say,
yeah, Cassie,
I would if I could.
you'd know, right? Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah, and then he wrote the film that is, for however long was the best film to ever exist. So
well,
he did something, right?
and he got co-writing credit because it was so long that Orson Welles had to chop it in half. So, but like he said at the end, what did he? Well, not at the end, but right after he finishes writing it. Let's see. Oh, he says, "I built him a watertight narrative, and I suggested an ending." I thought he was trying to do Marlon Brando the whole time. By the way,
We got an impression. Yay!
Honestly, I thought the guy that played Orson Welles was incredible. Like,
Yeah,
incredible.
I liked him too.
I thought he was good at playing Orson Welles. I expected more Orson Welles from this movie. I was a little sad about that.
I think a lot of people did.
A little sad. I was also sad that Orson Welles' last role was in Unicron in the Transformers movie in 1985.
In what?
Unicron, right? You guys, right? Transformers, Optimus Prime. No.
Yeah, okay, I know Optimus Prime.
Not my thing.
That one I know.
That's right.
Not my
The
thing.
great Orson Welles, his last film role ever was in 1985, the Transformers movie, playing the Planet Eater Unicron.
Really?
Yes, Orson Welles.
Interesting.
Just check out the music video. You've Got the Touch, and it's a rockin' '80s soundtrack. You won't regret it. It's my favorite music video ever. Anyway, You've Got the Touch.
I will definitely be looking that up.
No,
I will
so many
definitely
great, so many great points being made
You
this
got the
episode. This is so great.
You sure you haven't heard that? You got the touch. No, it's extremely '80s. Just it's the most '80s thing you can imagine, and I really love it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know how to rate this film except by giving it an 8 because it was too long. I'll give it 8 co-writing credits out of 10. That's what I'll give it.
I was gonna I came in wanting to give it a 6.5, but Erica, since you talked it up to me, I'm gonna go 7.5. Smelly cigars out of 10.
I love that. I'm gonna obviously I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, so I feel like I have to give it 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 poor Sarah's for me.
Yeah.
Poor Sarah. She needs that credit, baby. She stuck around. I love her.
That's
Okay.
She's loyal.
We
She's
need
loyal.
more stories about loyal women,
Yeah, we
That's
need more
right.
Sarahs. We need
Yeah.
more Sarahs in our lives.
Yeah.
Poor,
the
and
silent-
she doesn't want to be called poor Sarah anymore, but 10 out of 10 poor Sarahs.
Okay.
There you go. And here comes our theme song. Oh wait,
Yay.
before we go, Erica, where can we find you online?
We can find me at eRock Reviews on Twitter. That's where all my stuff is. I have a link tree in my profile, and you can see all my stuff, all my other podcasts I've been on, all the sites I write for. I write at In Their Own League, CRP Writes, and InSessionFilm.com. And yeah, I'm hoping once I get my life in order with my new job, I'll have way more reviews out. So yeah, find me at eRock Reviews on Twitter.
Great. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
And thank you, audience, for listening
Yeah.
to Josh and Cassie
Thanks
Yell
for
About
joining us.
Movies. See you next week, even though
See you
we don't
next
know what
time.
we're watching.
It'll be a surprise.
Mortal Kombat? Who knows?
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was super fun.
Oh my gosh, you are awesome, Erica.
Awesome. Thanks, Erica. I'm hitting stop, but we're
Thank
still
you.
on. Just stick
Yay!
around.
When is
Hold
this?
on. Wait a second. It takes a second to render this audio
Okay.
because it does local recording from each person.
Okay.
So I get 3 tracks and do multi-track.
Okay.
recording.
You know what? I usually always ask if you want me to record. I have it like I'll usually just do an Audacity file.
Oh
but...
no, you don't have to. Plus up.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on.